Everybody's asking about Taylor Swift now and about the show that she came to see us perform the other night. And I just want to give you guys a little bit more details and give you the inside scoop on it. So it was at Casa Cipriani, a very exclusive members club. There was a lot of security just hanging around her table. But more than anything I noticed is that she was just having a good time.
Okay, so before we even get into the wedding Easter egg and why Taylor might be a little on edge lately, this is where things have started getting really interesting. Because in true you had to be there fashion, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce have quietly slipped into a random concert night in New York City, no announcement, no build-up, and somehow turned it into the story everyone can't stop talking about. This wasn't a quick VIP pop-in either. According to the artist Richie Nuzz, they stayed the entire show even when it ran over. And then Taylor? She reportedly left a tip so generous it instantly became the moment people were whispering about after. Very on brand, but also very telling.
Alright guys, this is crazy. Last night, Taylor Swift was at my show, her clique, her fiance, the whole thing. We played 2 hours, she stayed the whole time, and we went 30 minutes over. She gave us a very generous tip and blew me a kiss. What?
Because on the surface, it looked like just another sweet, low-key date night, but zoom out for a second and it hits different. This is a couple that had been everywhere lately. NFL games, major events, headlines on headlines, and yet here they were, blending into a small venue like none of that chaos existed, and that's exactly why people have started reading into it. Taylor, at the absolute peak of her influence, still going out of her way to support smaller artists. Travis, expanding further into the entertainment world. And together, moving like a perfectly synced PR dream or something a little more calculated, especially when you remember what she'd recently said about how her life felt lately, happy, free, grounded because of him.
This album probably also feels very happy and confident and free because that's the way that I get to feel every single day of my life because of my fiance, who's here tonight.
Which is why this moment has raised eyebrows instead of just applause. Because not long after this quiet, generous night out, fans started spotting something else. Something subtle, something that hasn't felt accidental. And that's where the wedding Easter egg comes in, and why, behind all of this, Taylor might not be as carefree as she's been letting on. And here's why that is. That's something subtle people started picking up on. It isn't just a cute hint. It lines up with reports that things behind the scenes aren't nearly as calm as they look. Word is, Taylor Swift has been quietly dealing with some serious pre-wedding pressure after private details about her plans with Travis started leaking out. We're talking rumored dates, locations, even whispers about a July 3rd ceremony in New York City. Basically the kind of stuff she never likes out in the wild before she's ready. And for someone who's built a career on controlling her narrative, yeah, that hasn't landed well. Insiders are saying it isn't about cold feet over him. It is everything around it. The scale, the scrutiny, the feeling that something so personal is starting to slip out of her control. Suddenly, what was supposed to be this carefully curated, meaningful moment is being risked turning into a full-blown media circus, exactly what she's always tried to avoid. On top of that, the timing isn't doing her any favors. Travis's Kansas City Chiefs schedule has apparently locked everything into a tight window, with preseason looming and very little room to adjust. So now it isn't just about planning a wedding, it is about racing the clock while the entire world watches. And that pressure, it has reportedly started to show. People close to her hint she's been feeling overwhelmed, even reconsidering parts of the wedding altogether, like whether to change key details or pivot completely just to take back some control. Not exactly the carefree, happy, and free energy she'd been talking about publicly, which has suddenly made that low-key concert appearance and those tiny, almost hidden signals fans noticed afterward feel a lot less random, and a lot more like clues. And just when things were starting to feel a little tense around all those leaked details and is she or isn't she overwhelmed, whispers the narrative around Taylor and Travis has shifted again, this time back into something a lot more intentional, almost reassuring. Because despite the noise, the date reportedly stays locked in, July 3 in New York City. And instead of backing away from the pressure, Travis has apparently been leaning in even harder behind the scenes. Even with the mixed headlines about his recent season with the Kansas City Chiefs, sources suggest his focus has quietly turned toward making the lead up to the wedding as meaningful as possible for Taylor. Not just showing up, but actively building moments around her. One of the more talked about details. He was reportedly planning to take part in parts of her bachelorette celebrations, which are being organized with help from close friends like Selena Gomez and Gigi Hadid. The vibe, according to insiders, is less about spectacle and more about memories, him simply trying to be present in the mix instead of staying on the sideline. And then came the softer, almost old-school romantic gestures. Reports suggest he's been sending increasingly elaborate flower deliveries in the countdown to the wedding, each one supposedly getting more over the top as the date gets closer. Subtle at first, then steadily turning into something that feels more like a running love letter than a gift.
So these are from Travis.
Oh, these are so beautiful. I love that he doesn't even have to sign them anymore.
There has even been talk that he might bring back a look inspired by his appearance at Taylor's Eras Tour stop in London in 2024, basically a quiet nod to where all of this really started getting public attention. Meanwhile, the actual wedding itself has reportedly been planned with extreme control in mind. Invitations are already circulating, guests are being asked to keep their schedules clear for a multi-day event, and privacy rules are said to be strict enough that even phones aren't expected to make an appearance. So after all the speculation, the leaks, and the talk of pressure, the picture that has started forming again is one of precision, carefully managed, tightly held, and deliberately shielded from chaos, which has made the earlier nerves and on-edge whispers feel less like a collapse and more like what happens right before something extremely controlled finally steps into place. And just when the wedding storyline already feels tightly controlled, with the locked-in guest list, the phone bans, and the growing sense that nothing is happening by accident, another layer of detail has dropped that's made the whole thing feel even more deliberate. Because according to insiders speaking to Rob Shooter's Naughty But Nice Substack, Taylor and Travis have quietly made a decision that immediately sets this apart from every typical A-list wedding setup. No wedding gifts at all. Instead of the usual high-end registry situation, where luxury items, designer pieces, and curated wish lists usually dominate, guests have reportedly been given something completely different. A curated list of charities. Not optional side notes, not symbolic gestures, but the actual replacement for gifting altogether. And the reasoning, according to sources, is pretty simple in their world. They already have everything they could realistically need. So the idea has shifted from what do we receive to what impact can this moment have? The charities themselves are reportedly personal choices tied to causes both of them have supported or felt strongly about over time. So even though it looks like a simple rule on the surface, insiders suggest it actually reflects a very specific shared mindset rather than a PR decision. What makes it even more interesting is how naturally people around them have seemed to accept it. Far from resistance, guests are reportedly fully aligned with the idea. Some insiders even describe the response as immediately understood, as if it matches the tone of everything else already being planned, intimate, controlled, and intentional. And then there's the way Taylor's reputation has quietly shaped the reaction. Those close to her point out that this isn't a new direction so much as an extension of what she's always done privately. Over the years, she's been known for behind-the-scenes generosity, supporting fans in crisis moments, tipping crews heavily, and stepping in when situations never make headlines. So, while this gift rule might look like a headline moment, insiders frame it as something she'd been doing in spirit for a long time already. There was also mention that the same mindset extends beyond the guest list. Staff involved in the wedding are reportedly expected to be treated very generously, with bonuses and compensation that reflect how central they are to the event running smoothly. Again, nothing publicly announced, just quietly structured into how things are being handled. And while all of this is circulating, fans online have quickly picked up the story and started weighing in. Many praise the move as thoughtful and grounded, especially in contrast to the usual over-the-top celebrity wedding excess. Others pointed out that when you're dealing with the kind of wealth and visibility Taylor operates at, shifting attention toward charity feels less like a statement and more like a responsibility she is choosing to lean into.
Hey, Miss Taylor, thank you so much.
Meanwhile, the formal side of the wedding planning is still moving forward in parallel. Invitations have already gone out for the July 3rd ceremony in New York City, with guests reportedly being asked to keep the entire weekend clear for a multi-day schedule. But alongside that, another layer of secrecy has been added. Attendees aren't just confirming availability, they are also signing NDAs as part of their RSVP process, ensuring that details about the event would stay tightly contained no matter how high-profile the guest list becomes. And that combination, charity-only gifting, strict confidentiality rules, tightly managed guest access, and carefully controlled timing, starts to paint a very specific picture. This isn't shaping up like a traditional celebrity wedding with controlled chaos. It looks more like a fully engineered event, where every detail from what guests give to what they see has been designed to keep one thing intact: absolute control over the story from beginning to end. How very Taylor-like.